Welcome back, you all, to Chapter 12, the Science Center. Of all the activities in an early childhood classroom, few illustrate quite as vividly as does science the idea that young children acquire knowledge through self-discovery. Science, in fact, means investigation as far as young children are concerned. It is less about plants and animals or weather and water than it is about finding out. So we're going to talk all about finding out in this chapter. I want to talk to you for just a second about this particular slide that you see in front of you. All of these items are linked. Okay, so the scientific method, this is a great video on the scientific method, both of these. These are links, but all of these computers, as well as these books. I really hope you will take an opportunity to go back and do Scientist, What Do You See? It's around the same storyline as Brown Bear, What Do You See? And I think you will love this. This is Mary Had a Little Lab, as in Science Lab. So anyway, all of these are great. Underneath this video, you're going to see where I say Chapter 12 lecture video resource link. And it's just this slide. And if you'll click on each of these items, like if you'll come here and click on scientific method here, all of these links, you can actually play those links. So I'm just not going to take the time to play them during this video, okay? All right, so science in the early childhood classroom. How do preschool children find out about the world around them? How do they find out? It's not through reading. It's not through watching a video. It's not through listening to you talk. Those methods might be good for older children, but for preschoolers, they learn most appropriately about their environment by interacting physically with the objects within it. It is like hands-on discovery. And it's that approach that involves investigation with their five senses. Okay? So in other words, for young children, science is the process of finding out, and they do it through exploratory play using their five senses. So let's talk about oh goodness. So let's talk about exploration for just a second. Let me go back. I'm so sorry. NAEYC encourages children to use their five senses for exploration. All children everywhere come well equipped for the task of investigating their environment. And they do this because they have five wonderfully acute senses that they bring with them to the classroom every day with which they can explore. So let's talk a little bit about those. The first one is sight. So they observe and they notice things within their environment. The sense of sight can be applied in several ways for children's scientific investigation. Like, let's use water for an example. We can ask them what kind of water do they see in the classroom. Maybe there's a water fountain. Maybe there's a sink. Maybe there's an aquarium. Maybe there's a water bottle, okay, that you brought in. Also, we can ask them to look at two different types of water through a magnifying glass. Like maybe we go and we get some pond water and we let them look at that, and then we pour in some bottled water and we let them look at that. So that's how you can do sight. All right, let's talk about sound. Sound may be the next sense children that will use automatically, but it also depends on the objects that we're going to be investigating. So can we listen to water? Yeah, we can. We can listen to water as it comes out of a fountain or a faucet. We can listen to water as someone splashes it. So we can listen to water in lots of different ways. Okay, rain, we can listen to how it rains and it sounds as it's hitting the window or the car. We can talk about those kinds of things. Smell. Children use smell all of the time to help them identify and distinguish among things within their world. Preschool children would love more than anything to sniff different types of water to see if there's a difference in the way they smell. Do you think there would be a difference in the way pond water smells versus bottled water? Absolutely there would be. And pool water versus pond water versus bottled water. Okay, all of those things. Next sense, taste. If something is edible, young children will want to try it. So if they can eat it, they'll want to try it, okay? So this is a simple one when we're thinking about water. We can just taste different samples of water, okay, to see if there's a difference in their taste. Obviously, you're not going to provide any samples that would be harmful to them, but we can taste all different types of water. And lastly, let's talk about touch. Exploring a substance through touch can also be stimulating for preschool children. We can attach various like spray bottles and let them spray the water coming out of the water faucet and fill the spray at like a different setting. Like that's one way we could do touch. We could also let them use egg beaters, you know what I'm talking about, in a water, like in a tub where we put water and some soap and let them see what happens when they do that, and it creates bubbles. So that would be another way that we could use touch. This is a great book. I put this link in here and I am going to play this for you, just a couple minutes of it, not long, but it's called 5 for Little One. I was thrilled to find this as an example in your textbook. I use this book throughout my teaching career when we were talking about science and the act of science through discovery, because it really talks about the 5 senses and how you can use them. So I'm just going to show you just a little bit of this.
Or good afternoon if you're watching this in the afternoon. Today's read aloud is called 5 for Little One.
Y'all hear spooky music in the background?
Noble nose, sniff and smell. You do it well. Contrast, compare, sample scents of flowers and foods and oceans and woods. Breathe the air. Hearing is number 2. Happy ears, pay attention. Listening. Did we mention sounds surround you? Catch the honking, beep beep, barking, whoop, whoop. Singing, la la la. All that ringing, ring, ring, ring.
Okay, so I'm going to stop this right here, but you get the idea of what that looks like. So it's on YouTube. I found that link on YouTube. So I challenge you to find that book and explore that book a little bit more. So setting up the Science Center. To be successful in enticing all the children into the Science Center, you have to do it based on interest of the children. You have to make it personal, okay? Things that they're going to want to get involved with. We're going to need to have collections of picture books, lots of tools for investigating. Your book in chapter 12 gives you excellent resources, so I encourage you to look at your resources that are in your textbook. So the scientific method, should we be even teaching preschool children about the scientific method? Absolutely. And the reason is their curiosity. They always want to know why, right? They're so curious about things. So we support children in their curiosity through the scientific process by asking questions of them, posing problems to them, helping them form a hypothesis. What is a hypothesis? It's an educated guess based on the things that we know. We gather data. We make some conclusions about it. We build interest around the children's interests. So absolutely, we're going to be talking about the scientific process, even with our preschool children, because there's no better time to introduce that to them when they're so naturally curious. I like this comment too about when we're talking about from science activities that promote cognitive development. Preschool children need not be so concerned about why things are the way they are, but rather how they look, act, and interact. And that goes right back to one of the first things we said about exploratory play through using their senses. That's how they figure out how things look, how they act, and how they can personally interact with them. So we really need to also encourage children in science activities and recognize also how it promotes social development. A lot of times science can kind of be an individual thing, but we want to encourage children to work in groups. Okay, so I think you should find opportunities where you can involve children in small group activities. So when that you take small groups, few children, maybe teams of 2 children each, and you can put them together in a learning experiences that will allow them to take turns, wait for their turn, help one another. That's what we're talking about with social development. So what's your role? All these things are happening, but what's your role? It's very critical and it's crucial. If you don't take an active role in the Science Center, some children may be standoffish about it. So your first role is to set it up. And you got to set it up appropriately. Go back to what I was saying in the chapter about all the things that your book offers for you to have in the Science Center. And sometimes we think that it might be very costly, expensive. It's not. It's a lot of things, just household things that you can pick up. But we got to set it up. We got to listen to the children's comments and their questions. Don't do all the talking. Listen to them as they interact and let that guide you. We got to arouse their curiosity in the topic by having the activities in the center and encouraging their use. We got to assist them with their exploration using their 5 senses. We got to help them use that scientific method by asking those questions, posing those problems, and then make it interesting and personal. And we talked all about that. So I'll see you next week. I know this video is a little bit longer than normal, but I wanted you to see a few of these things. I appreciate you viewing it, and I'll see you next week.